Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. It's Lane here with MetaShackle. Today we're going to be going over the XLM charts. Let's not waste any time and let's get into it. So I have been adjusting my charts as we move forward and more information is presented to us by price action. XLM is trading in this descending wedge pattern. It is exhibiting the same 5-wave pattern that the vast majority of the other ISO 222 tokens are all exhibiting. It is currently trading below the Gaussian channel. The channel is now turning down towards the price. At some point, these are likely going to meet. When they do, oftentimes you will see a rejection like we saw right here, pushing it down, which could very well lead to bottoming out in the fourth leg and moving into the fifth leg false breakout that I've theorized is going to happen, moving into the month of April, where we will see a flash crash from mid to late April, followed by the real breakout moving into the month of May, June, July, and potentially even August. Now removing the Gaussian channel, I've been adjusting my levels as I've been looking at the charts. Keep in mind these are not the exact levels. It will likely be quite a bit different than what you see on the charts here. It may go deeper, it may not go quite as deep. But we saw this low form on the charts on December 20th. We took that low out here with this liquidation candle on February 3rd. We then swept that low with this candle right here on February 28th. And swept that low once again with this candle right here on March 11th. And I do believe we are going to sweep this liquidity right here. This candle is the one that swept this entire pattern, meaning there's probably very little liquidity left in this area. So by coming down, sweeping that bottom, it will likely push down in this area to wipe out whatever liquidity is remaining in this area right here before we saw the biggest part of the Trump pump breakout. So I do believe it would be somewhere around this orange line to this lower trend line. It may dip below it like this, and assuming, of course, that this isn't the bottom. So if this actually breaks out trading towards equilibrium, there's a good chance that this would be the bottom here, so it would look more like this. Now, I don't know for sure how this is going to play out, but I do have my thoughts on it. And wherever this low ends up being, whether it's right here, or whether it's down here below this line, wherever it ends up, I do believe that this flash crash will sweep that low. This false breakout leg here will likely trade to equilibrium. I don't know for sure if it's going to go past it, attempting to put pressure on this high here, perhaps even this high here, but it's more likely to be this one. So there may be a chance that it only trades up to equilibrium right here before the flash crash comes, which in such an event would look something more like this. So we don't know exactly how that leg is going to look, but we're going to find out as we move closer to that point. So keep an eye on the charts, keep an eye on that Gaussian channel, and if we start to bottom out here, I think we'll see the breakout soon because there's no more liquidity here. Eventually, the algorithm is going to start hunting all the liquidity that's piled up here on these highs. There's liquidity at each point on this chart, and eventually this algo is going to flip from seeking and destroying sell-side liquidity to seeking and hunting buy-side liquidity. And then we're going to get that move upwards. I do believe once we've chewed up a big chunk of this leg right here, that's when we'll see the flash crash wiping out everything below it on the sell side, gathering liquidity from both sides for the algorithm to use later for distribution on this leg up. So keep an eye on this. If we hit this bottom here and we move up, keep an eye on equilibrium. If we pass equilibrium, keep your eye on a daily candle forming above the equilibrium zone. We want to see something like this candle here. Granted, it didn't break out here, but we want to see a candle form above that. If that happens, there's a good chance that we'll push up to the white number 2 line on my fib levels next. Now the chart that we were just looking at was on the regular chart. For this chart, since it's spanning a long period of time, we are switching over to the logarithmic chart for accuracy. Now you can see the overall trend is really nice. If you have seen the XRP charts, you'll know that this resembles very closely what the XRP chart looked like, with the exception that XLM has yet to break out of this wedge pattern, coming up to the upper trend line. XRP punched right through this bad boy and is trading up in this range. So at this point, XLM is actually lagging behind considerably in comparison to XRP. But this looks really good. You can see this flag pattern right here on the weekly chart. The only other time this happened that resembles that is this breakout in 2017 right here. This flag pattern and this flag pattern look very, very similar to each other. And if we zoom in on this pattern here, on the bull flag that we are currently trading in is what we have seen on this bull flag in the past. As you can see, it kept taking the lower liquidity from the sell side, bottoming out here. Before the run commenced, a liquidation candle came in right here, taking out this previous low. At that point, the algorithm stopped hunting sell-side liquidity and moved after buy-side liquidity. But what we want to see is this mid-shelf right here has a nice support line. You can see that once the price had reversed and broke out above this, this acted as support, and then it broke out in epic fashion. Another thing to keep your eye on in this pattern right here is the fact that previous to breaking off of this support range, look at the candles. Look at the wicks on these candles. They're reaching to the sky. This is indicative of price attempting to push up, but being pushed down by sell orders. Buyers are coming into the market, but the sell orders are pushing down the buying action, holding it down. And you can see right here towards the end, the sellers ran out and the price ran up. And once it got outside of this area right here at this high, it just went ballistic. Went on an amazing run. Now, if you look at this chart pattern here after it topped out, you get the exact opposite. Notice how all the long wicks are on the bottom side. This is indicative of people still attempting to buy in as there is a lot of selling going on. Eventually, the buyers capitulate and the price drops. So notice here, as this was bullish, the wicks were on the top side. When it started to become bearish, the wicks fell to the bottom. The wicks fell to the bottom here as well, and the pattern fell down. So take a look at the current pattern that we're in right now. When the weakness came in and we topped out up here towards the upper trend line, the wicks are forming towards the top, pushing the action downward, forming this low here. The price action took that low out. It's continued. The price action here on this candle took out this low, sweeping sell-side liquidity. But one thing that you can see right here is what I always talk about, is a weak doji candle right here. These weak doji candles are indicative of about a 50-50 move in the market. The buyers and the sellers are matching. So there's a good chance that if we're going to see a reversal, it may be on the low that we see right here on the current charts, or we may attempt to sweep this one last time, because you can see with the length of these candles and how they reacted by hitting liquidity, bouncing right back up, that there's a good chance that there was a lot of liquidity in this range, and it's been sucking it up, pushing it down further and further. You can see this fair value gap right here, which is a bearish fair value gap, which once acted as resistance, is now likely to act as support. So if we do bottom out, as I have been talking about, taking out this low, it's very likely that we will take a draw on liquidity somewhere within this fair value gap before making the move upwards. And the hardest part of this move, moving up, is going to be breaking out of this fair value gap right here, which has successfully been filled but will still act as resistance nonetheless. But if we can get outside of this upper wedge trend line right here, we are going to make a spectacular move. And it does look to me, looking at these charts, like we are getting very close to a point of decision in the market. Just the overall look at this chart does not look bearish to me at all. When we broke out of this pattern down here, the momentum was off the charts. The flag was sticking out from above the upper trend line. When this flag broke, it was already way above that trend line, coming up even further to set this high point right here, which was the all-time high and still to this day stands. And we have not even broken out of this wedge pattern yet. So that means whatever momentum we have moving forward, continuing this bull run, is going to be epic, and we haven't seen anything yet. XRP has already made its big move, breaking out of the wedge pattern that it was trapped in for 7 years. Now it's going to be XLM's turn, and XLM has some catching up to do. So this chart looks absolutely incredible. And I firmly believe that over the course of the next couple of months, we are going to see XLM break out of this wedge pattern, taking out the previous all-time high, moving into price discovery, and setting a new all-time high, starting in the month of May, moving into June, July, and possibly even August. It could go later into the year, but I do believe that that will be just about it. And since nobody's expecting it, and everybody's calling it a dead bull run, or the bull run that's never going to happen, or alt season that's never going to happen, they're all going to be caught off guard. And when this comes out and breaks out of this trend line, all the breakout traders are going to chase this thing up higher than you could have ever even thought was possible this year. They don't want to buy it down here. They certainly didn't want to buy it down here. But when it's up here and it's running, take my word for it, they are going to chase this thing as high as they can. And that is when we will be cutting our positions in half, laddering out. So thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate each and every one of you. Do me a favor and hit the like button below if you could. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps the channel, and I'd really appreciate it. Have a great day.